All right. Well, we are live again for our Faces of First Atlanta with Miss Diana Thorne here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us who's Diana.
Well, I've been in the office since 2008, but my background is I'm from South Georgia, and my first career was corporate America. I was a buyer that you would probably recognize most recently would be Federated.
Okay.
I was with Federated, so I did retail for a long time.
Well, take us back. So South Georgia.
Coffee County.
Okay.
Douglas, Georgia.
Okay.
I was born and raised in Douglas, and then I did from about second grade on in Statesboro, which is where Georgia Southern University is.
Yeah.
That's where I'm from.
So would it be safe to say small town?
Very small.
Okay. All right. So you grew up small town girl, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm assuming there was a moment in life you're like, I'm out of here. I'm moving.
Sixth grade.
Oh, you waited all the way to sixth grade?
Is when I started realizing I didn't like the small town.
Okay.
It's when I was in sixth grade in elementary. And that's when my dad told me he started seeing the change in how I was and things.
Okay. So you were starting to place vision early in life, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you graduate high school in Douglas?
It's at Georgia Southern in Statesboro. Oh, high school was in Statesboro, yeah.
Yeah. So what, like the dream, obviously I'm hearing in your story a big city dream, right? But what was your dream?
I wanted the big city.
Okay.
I wanted New York City.
Okay. You were going big.
I wanted to live the dream that I'd always wanted. And
but paint me that picture. What's the dream?
There was not a glass ceiling.
Okay. So you wanted to just go as big as you could go.
I had, because like I said, it goes back to sixth grade. Charlotte Lane, she taught us believe in yourself and move forward. And that's where it all started. And my dad used to get mad and say, that Miss Lane, he would get, because he could remember where it went back to. And so I was editor of the high school yearbook for 2 years. And then I went to college. I was in a sorority and I got involved in a marketing club, which was a business club. And we went to Phoenix, Arizona in a competition. And we placed third. There were only 3 teams that ended up there, but we did get third.
Yeah.
There was no other way we could get lower. But so I just knew I always wanted more. And so I started out in retail.
Okay.
I started working, I was 16. I've always worked in retail. And then I went to a company as an assistant buyer and kept working my way up. And then in 1992, all of our jobs were eliminated because that's when consolidation started. And so the company I was with, the division was consolidated into another group. And so they gave me 2 choices. I could either move back and be a department manager, or I could
at a department store.
At one of their department stores.
Okay.
Or I could go to New York City.
Well, duh. So off we go.
Off I go. And so I was scared to death. Nobody in my family.
I don't think you were more scared than your dad was, but.
And so so my dad said, I didn't want to do it. And he was like, Diana, this is what you've always wanted.
Yeah.
He said, you're going to give it 1 year. And after a year, if you don't like it, we will come get you.
Okay.
And so I actually only lived in New York City for about 4 months. And then they transitioned us to Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay. How old were you at the time?
I was 28.
Okay. So, all right. 28's a good age to be in New York City.
Right. So that was fun.
Yeah.
But I was scared to death because, my mom had put the fear of God in me about what goes on. And it was so great because everything was paid for, everything.
Okay.
Vendors either paid for it or the company paid for it. So it was a good time then. And you lived on a per diem. So what you didn't spend, you got to keep.
Okay.
So it was really good. And so then I moved to Cincinnati and was buying there. Yeah. And then in 1997, I wanted to come back home. It was time to come south.
Okay.
And I got on with Federated here in Atlanta, which when I started, it was Riches.
Okay.
And then they changed their name to Macy's. And I just kept working. And so where my work ethic came from was from a long time ago, but where my business came from was my training in retail for so many years.
Okay, so talk to me about that. Retail seems, I never worked retail, full disclosure. So, but it seems cutthroat to me.
It's very cutthroat.
Okay.
It's very cutthroat. It's very who's the flavor of the day,
Okay.
you know. And so I finally realized probably, I don't remember, 2004. So 2001, 2002, I wasn't going to move any higher.
Okay.
And so I put my plan together. And at the division, the level I was at back then, you got stock options. Management level did. And
Yeah.
so I started cashing out stock options to save my money so I could leave.
Yeah.
And so finally in 2004, I walked in one day and I quit.
Okay.
And my boss, and it was in real estate. I'd always wanted to go in real estate. And my dad was the one who pushed me, and he said, "You're so young, follow your dreams. If it doesn't work, you've got time to find another path." So I quit, and I'll never forget, I walked in, and my boss at the time's name was David Mahalko.
Mm-hmm.
And some people may know him, I don't know. He's gone now. But so he said, "You're going to sell real estate?" And I was like, "Yep." And he said, "You realize, Diana, you got to close a house before you get a paycheck." And I said, "I will be fine." And I left.
And you did it.
And I did it. I left there. And I think it was more the challenge, his not belief in me, that really put even more push into me. And I went to a traditional company. Jimmy, say who I went to.
I don't care.
I was at Harry Norman for 4.5, almost 5 years.
Yep.
And it was a great company for me starting out. And I had one goal when I started with Harry Norman. And I wanted to be the rookie of the year for the company. And I made it.
You were. So in 2004, 2005,
Mm-hmm.
you're the rookie of the year.
I was rookie of the year. And Jim Floyd, who was just an awesome broker, he was just the true epitome of a Southern gentleman, very kind, very nurturing, taught me a lot, but I knew I wanted more. And so in 2008, I was introduced to Phyllis Durham here in this office. And Phyllis courted me for a long time. She would take me out to eat. She would always give me advice on things. She would help me with transactions.
Yeah.
She would give me advice. And she gave me finally the MREA one day. And she had it. Now, I don't know if it was truly signed by Gary Keller or if it was just mass produced, but she got me.
No, he doesn't. It's signed.
So I got a book.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Okay.
And so finally, I came over to Keller Williams in November 2008. My little
Okay.
girl was about to turn 1.
Oh, what's her name?
Sally.
Awesome. So November 2008, you make the change.
Mhm.
At that point in time, the market had already started to
Started to go
get a
down.
little shaky.
And
Yeah.
I didn't know enough to realize it.
Okay.
I didn't know the markers. And at the company I was at, they don't track the markers.
Okay.
They weren't tracking like that then. It's a totally different philosophy. You know, as traditional, this is more of a, interdependent. You do your own thing, but they didn't track the model. So I didn't know.
Yep.
And I can remember sitting on the beach in August 2007
Yeah.
and getting the phone calls. My husband and I were working on, our little girl's adopted.
Mhm.
So we were working on adoption, and I start getting phone calls sitting on the beach that day about the bank shutting down. And I'm like, I still didn't understand really what was
Yeah.
going on. I'm like, what, how could this be? And so then Sally Hamrick's born, we get Sally Hamrick, and then it's like a train crash.
Yeah.
I mean, everything just starts shutting down.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was when I transitioned.
Right in the middle of it. So you transition in the middle of it.
Transitioned
All right.
over.
Couple things I'm hearing in your story. You're certainly a learning-based individual, which I think is one of the big characteristics of top producers. But interestingly enough, when I talk about limiting beliefs, I always talk about there's those people in our lives that believe in us sometimes more than we believe in ourselves. And all of a sudden, there's quite a few people in your life that have shown up, and even your dad, and a couple times where he believed in you almost more than you believed in yourself at that moment.
And he made me do
And
it.
he gave you the little push, right? And this Charlotte Lane in 6th grade, planted a seed inside of you.
Girl power. My dad got so mad.
Yeah, come on. But it's just interesting to me listening to your story and how you're receptive to it and you're learning based and you soak it in and but that doesn't mean you're not human and you don't have your own doubts and fears along the way. But good people are behind you, kind of giving you that nudge to take the hill, if you will.
Right.
Yeah. So you get into real estate.
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's all roses the entire journey.
Oh, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, like never a bad day.
Yeah. So 2008, the market crashed.
Yep.
My husband, who was in banking, had just started a new bank.
Okay.
By two very, very large people in Atlanta.
Yep.
And let's see, Sally Hamrick was born November 2008. She was 1.5. He walked in on Christmas Eve. The market was going down.
Yep.
FDIC shut them down.
Oh, wow.
So we were both impacted. And what, the power of a conversation, what changed and really made us through whole for a long time was we had our church dinner club over one night. And just in conversation, I'm not afraid to talk. And I was just talking to Jason. And I said, hey, if you ever know of anybody I can meet at your bank, I would love to meet them and get their foreclosures.
Yeah.
And for 3 years, when I transitioned, so I was already getting them. That's right. Because when I came to this office, I had 20 listings. Yeah. And it was all from this bank. And that's what kept us whole for
foreclosure listings.
Foreclosure.
So it's interesting. There's opportunity in every market, whether we're up or we're down or any of that. And, we're coming out of a pandemic right now. And what do you see as opportunity right now?
I think you got to get closer to your database.
Okay.
I think, you can still do the expireds. I do expireds. And when I, and I've tried different models. And when I say different models, different ways, I've tried mail, I've tried postcards, I've tried calling. I know where I get my listings all the time. Yep. It's from the phone call.
Yeah. There's no shortcut to it.
It's voice to voice. It's people want to be touched. They want to be heard. Yeah. And it's just in conversations. I did pop-bys yesterday. I was out and he is with a big bank in town. Yeah. And I was just dropping by it was my ice cream cards and the balm kit for the mom. Because it's been a balm of a year. Inside it had a bath bomb and a hand lotion. And then I had each child a ice cream card for Brewster's. Yeah. And so Andy happened to be home because everybody's working from home. And he said, hey, how can I help you? And I was like, it took me back a second because I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. And he said, I only know 1 or 2 people a year that buy, but I've got connections. Who can I introduce you to? And so I already knew who I wanted in my pipeline, the business, because in this market, yes, it is relationship based. And yes, you need to deepen those, but you've got to find some other opportunities out there also. Yeah. And so I told him, well, these are the type of businesses I would really like to meet. And so.
And is he connecting you?
We're going to have coffee next week and we're going to talk about it. Yeah.
So I'm hearing in the beginning, you were a relationship based agent. You pivoted somewhere along your journey to be an REO agent.
And that's what I did most of it. Yeah. In 2008, 9, and 10.
And would you consider yourself an REO agent today or you're a relationship agent?
Relationship. So the legs of my business are my sphere, my geographic farm. And I am trying to get deeper into the campaign ads. Okay. My assistant and I have started doing those.
I placed one 30 minutes before you walked in there.
Oh, you did? Yeah. So there is a method to the madness. Yeah. It's about how you position them, the keywords and all that kind of stuff. But we've picked up from it. We've spent on the most recent one, maybe $50 on it. And I've got probably 4 good leads. And when I say a lead, it's a relationship. You've got to build the relationship.
A name, a number, but we've now talked and something's transpired in conversation.
Right. Yeah. So I've got 4.
Okay.
So
that's $12 a lead.
Yeah. So which is a lot cheaper than Zillow or Realtor.com.
Oh, yeah. So you're messing around with command. What was it? Smooth sailing in the beginning?
No.
Yeah. You had to figure it out, right?
Well, I figured out some of it. So, but I knew my bandwidth and my patience level, that I'm not that smart
Yep.
with it. So I went out and found someone who was younger than me and who understands it
Yeah.
better. And she's helping me the whole way. And
Yeah.
that was what I did.
Awesome. Yeah, we've been working with Nick here in the office on teaching people how to do this. And it seems to be a no-brainer in today's day and age.
You've got to grasp it, because talking about, okay, so between me and my assistant, there's, you know, a 15-year age difference, and how we look at things is so different. They are much more internet driven. They are much more, they look at the internet.
Mhm.
They're looking at what's going on, you know, so I realize I've got to get deeper into that, because I mean, just listening to her talk,
Yeah.
you know.
So I was talking about the innovator's dilemma and just kind of sticking your toe in the water of new business and new things. That's what you're doing. I love it. All right. So what was your best day in real estate?
My best day when I closed my 2.7 million.
Oh my gosh. Tell me all about it.
So the lead came from an open house.
What?
So it came from an open house in my subdivision. And the mother came in, an older couple, and I just kept calling them. When I say calling them, for like 5 years.
Okay.
I would just call and say, hello, Loretta, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And so through the years, I've sold her 4 homes.
Okay.
Since then. She introduced me to her daughter. And I was the biggest sell in North Fulton that year. So it was 2.7, and that's been, I don't know, 4 years ago, maybe.
Yeah, I think open houses get a bad reputation because obviously they conflict with football, and who knows,
Right.
and we know all that. But at the end of the day, your job as a relationship-based agent
Right.
is to attract new relationships to your world that you can build
Right.
and service and maintain.
Right.
And over time, everybody's going to have a story like this if they do their job, right?
The one piece of information an agent gave me a long time ago is don't be driven by the money.
Yeah.
Because if you're driven just by the money, people can smell it a mile away, and they know you're only wanting them for what they can do for you.
Yep.
So come from contribution and just be there and be genuine.
Yeah.
And
I feel that out of you. I feel like you're a strong people person. You're genuine. You're pleasantly pleasant to talk to, right? Very cool. So you grow your real estate career. What was your best year? What kind of producer do you consider yourself?
I was a little over 10 million.
Okay.
My best year was it was over 300,000.
Okay. So where is Diana going in this? Where are you going with your career?
With my career, I'm getting back on track. I'm focusing back on the past 2 years. It's been kind of up and down. It's not back at my worst. But you know, just trying to refocus and not be so squirrel driven by the shiny object, you know, because so many times in this business you can, you know, squirrel, and people that know me know that I'm like, you know, my attention, my assistant will be like, Diana, come back. So being very focused, very just regimented, you know, and I don't mean regimented like a drill sergeant, but don't lose sight of what you're working for. Right. And come back to the basics.
Okay. So you reset, you come back to the basics. What's the down the road, where do you see yourself going?
I don't know. I know a number.
Okay.
I do P&L for my business, and I do a P&L for us personally. So I know a number that I want that P&L to hit. Okay. So you have a goal, and I won't ask you on video, but you have a goal number wise that's down the road. How far of a stretch is it? Not that far.
Not that far.
You mean the far in time, how long I want, or how much money I want to save?
Either one.
I want to work about 12 more years.
Okay.
And then it's, you know, it's just regimented, being focused every day. You know, I'm in coaching, MAPS coaching, and I have an awesome teacher or coach, whatever you want to call her. And she introduced me to a book called Profit First. Yep. And I've read it. It's good. I don't do all the stuff in the book.
Yeah, but you're supposed to have like too many bank accounts.
Yeah, it's that, and I'm not that. I'm like, I don't need that many. But what I started doing with her is taking that profit off the top first.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, if you just take it off before you even put it in your business account, because even though you're still supposed to run red light, green light, if you focus on that profit number first and invest it, I mean, it's amazing what it can do.
Powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That just reiterates my thought about you as how much of a learning-based individual you are.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
soak it in, right?
And I try to
And
focus on.
you apply it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. All right, so you've got what I mean. If I'm kind of summarizing your journey here, you had this Charlotte Lane in the beginning that
Mhm.
planted the seed, and your dad helped you water it, and you've grown this whole thing, and you've got 12 years to go. For I call it the choice, not that you're going to retire, but you build your life to where you
Mhm.
have a choice in 12 years,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
What's going to happen in 12 years?
Hopefully, my child will be out of college
Okay,
and
paid for, right?
paid for.
Yeah.
We'll be done with it, and enjoying life and seeing what else God has put out there for me to see, because it's
Okay.
just not here, right here in Atlanta.
Okay.
You know, I want to see, you know, as I always tell Sally Hamrick, we do double names because we're
Yeah.
from the South. But as I always tell Sally Hamrick, you know, there's so many beautiful things to see out in the world, and, you know, to get out there and have an opportunity to see it and
Yeah.
travel. And I don't mean
Where are you
necessarily
going?
going all over the world. We really like the national parks.
Okay.
We
Do
really
you have the little passport and all that?
we got it, but we hadn't
All right,
kept up with
all
it that way.
right. All right. So tour around nature, being in
Mhm.
nature, seeing pretty things,
Right.
that kind of thing. Awesome. If I asked you like three things, and what are the three things that you would say are the defining things that you held on to that attribute to your success? Like, what are the three characteristics about Diana in your mind? I don't want to give you what I'm
Mhm,
seeing, but in
mhm.
your mind, these three things are the things that have helped define me and helped created my success.
My first thing is my dad.
Yeah.
As anybody that meets me will know, I'm very close to my family.
Okay.
I attribute it to my family, and
But what about your dad?
to believe in yourself.
Okay.
You know, the thing he always taught me when I wanted to go into real estate, I'll never forget. He said, Diana, because I can remember those first few months, I would call up crying. Oh my God, what have I done? There's no money.
Yeah.
And he said, Diana, do the calls every day. And his exact words were, you just listen. If you push and push and push the train every day, before long, you're not going to realize it, and the train is pushing you.
Yeah.
And he's been right.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's right. So my dad, the other thing, and I brought it, was it's been beside my desk for, 2002, 2003.
Okay.
And it was when I was really in a self-discovery mode, knowing I wanted out of corporate America and trying to figure it. And it was Charles Stanley, who is a minister here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And it was called then The Power of Persistence. And he gave the 10 things about what you need to do. And so this has been taped beside my desk that many years.
Here, you know.
So it's still got the yellow tape.
Yeah.
And it's taped beside my desk. You know, I'll just read a couple of them.
Yeah.
Set a goal that demands your best. Keep your eye on the goal. Refuse to listen to other people's negative criticism. Surround yourself with encouraging friends. And then one of the most important things is that every defeat, look for a lesson. If you become the circumstances, you've lost it and you've missed the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And practice self-control. Don't let your emotions control you.
Powerful. So that's just been on your desk for all these years.
It's beside my desk. And then the other thing I keep beside my desk is the Jim Rohn, The Treasuries of Quotes.
Yep.
You know, and you can read all kinds of books, and it just comes back to me, it's keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
Just keep it simple and focus on those things, you know. And then the other thing I think attributes to my success is I'm not heavily swayed by public criticism and public, whichever the crowd's going this
comparison.
Way. I don't get caught up in that. I still focus on what my goal is, and they can go do this stuff, and I focus on me.
I love it. I love it. One of the characteristics of really successful people is they're very purposeful about controlling what goes on between their two ears, right? Like their mindset. And sometimes it's a sticky note you keep next to your computer. Sometimes it's a book you read. Sometimes it's a person that pours into your life. But it's really our success manifests after what's manifests here first, right?
Right.
And you're a product of that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But yeah, I've given this to a couple of people in the office when they'll talk about different things. I just make them copies and bring it to them.
I love it. All right. TED Talk or a book? If you were going to write it, what's your book about? What TED Talk would we watch and
So
hear
mine, there's buzzwords all today.
Yeah.
I mean, whether there's buzzwords every year, it's a different buzzword. And my thing is, it's not just about the mindset.
Okay.
So that's what mine would be. It's not.
I just sit here
it's
and
not
give you a
just
whole
about,
speech about it. It was about the mindset.
No, but not just about the mindset. You've got to put things in place.
Oh, you got to put action.
You've got to put
behind it.
action. You've got to put purpose. You've got to have focus. You've got to have self-discipline.
Yes.
You've got to be in a learning-based mode to, if you hear something like Linda told me, when I say mindset, and mindset can be, mindset's the first piece of it.
Yeah.
But you've got to put all the other pieces in place to be successful, because success is not an accident.
Sure. Well, it's like the most educated people in the world aren't always the most successful.
That's right. So you've got to
put the action. They didn't push the train.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. You've got to put the pieces and the effort behind the mindset to get to where you want to go.
Got it. So it's it might be called Push the Train.
That's what my daddy would say.
Yeah, there you go. What's some interesting stuff about Diana that we don't know?
Well, you just learned one when Clark and I were in here talking
But
about.
they don't know.
So, talking about the focus. So I used to be a runner.
Yeah.
A long time ago, and the way I would the run I was telling we were discussing was I flew out to the longest one I went, or farthest distance away, was San Francisco. It was Beta Breakers.
Yeah.
And that would have been around 2002, 2003, somewhere there. And but how I trained was, when it was too cold to train outside, I would train on the treadmill.
Yeah.
And I ran with my eyes closed.
Okay.
And I would hold on to the side, and I would focus in my mind on something I was running towards. Because if you go to the gyms and they have these big screens up, so you get engrossed in the screen. So I was always running uphill, running after a certain goal. And that's how I trained myself.
Okay.
And so that's how I started out. And then in 2000, what year was it? I can't remember. 2006, I ran my first half marathon here in Atlanta. And then Sally Hamrick was born, and hadn't ran again.
Yeah. But you've run some marathons in your life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, wow, what a powerful visual.
So that's
You
how I
manifested it in your mind while running the treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
Give me one more.
That I do?
No, or just some interesting facts that people don't know about Diana.
Interesting facts. Gosh, I don't know. I'm from South Georgia.
Yeah.
I am very focused on my family.
Yeah.
And I do truly follow the motto of what Keller Williams says.
Okay.
God, family, work. Because everything else will come into play
how
after
do you
that.
balance that? It's easier said than done. It's real easy to put on a statement saying, "Oh, I've put God first, and God and family first, and then business." And
so where mine came into play, and I started to bring that in too, was when Sally Hamrick was in pre-K or something. She drew a picture, and I went into the classroom, and it was Mother's Day, and on the wall, your child had written, or they had written for them, the 10 things that, what their child says about you. And what she said changed how I looked at things from that day forward.
Okay.
My mommy is most happy when she sells a house. And that to me was powerful, because while, yes, I want to make the money.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to be successful. At the end of the day, this could all change tomorrow.
Yeah. And you don't want that being her defining statement.
And I don't want that to be. So you've got to figure out what works in your life for you. and whether it be work, just anything, but it all can come together, and you've got to respect your own self enough to set boundaries, to do what is right for you or your family, to do what's right for your career, and it will all come together. But the thing does still start with, you've got to believe in yourself.
Yeah. That's really powerful. I mean, I've watched marriages fall apart. I've watched families fall apart. I've watched people that just literally can't get control of their lives because they're chasing the next commission.
Right.
And in order to do that, they blow up everything else around them.
Right.
And it's sad. And one of the things that I love about Keller Williams, and I'm hearing you say, is we preach this life worth living, right? And easier said than done, but it does start with a focus. And when we put that out there and we say we're going to focus on that, you make it a priority for you, right? It becomes a conversation.
It's a priority in my house. And we've always done it.
Yeah.
You know, well, not always. When I got when she put that thing on the wall, and I was humiliated at school because that's what she put, but out of the mouth of a babe, that, children see, and they're very observant. So, we're very focused on our family, and those that are friends with me on Facebook know we love to cook, and we've done cooking videos, and even on my business page, we've done cooking stuff. We've had things about barbecue, and then another thing about our family is we love dogs. We have 3 in the house.
Okay, what's your signature dish?
I love anything with garlic and Italian.
Okay, well, I'm in. So thank you so much for your time today. This was great. I think you're very successful, and I'm not surprised by that listening to your story, because there's certain characteristics about who you are as a person that we all should take notice of, because those are defining characteristics that create success.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.